I'm just gonna give some updates. Our whole family's pretty much been sick since the last time I talked to you guys. Between fever and coughing and just pure and absolute exhaustion. um, our Christmas was called off because we were having it a day late, and in Seattle, the area in which I live, we don't have the infrastructure for snow. And so when it snows any kind of heavy at all, everything kind of shuts down because everything's built like on the sides of mountains with no grading. And so we have roads that are like this. Like I know my truck can't make it up. So yeah, we just resign ourselves to being stuck inside. And then pretty much just with the illnesses going back and forth and work and kids, I'm exhausted and I've been very frustrated and struggling. Um, yeah, like really struggling. And it's been rather difficult to discuss. And, um, and it's very frustrating sometimes when you are asked how you are and you say, hey, I'm struggling. And the person immediately dismisses your struggle as there are other people that of course I know there's other people that have it worse. I get it. It doesn't mean I'm not grateful or happy or any of those things. But it seems as if a lot of times people have been very dismissive of if you don't want to know how somebody is, just don't ask. Like I think that that's pretty super simple. And it really frustrates me when I'm trying to talk about how I'm struggling and get met with dismissive sayings, gestures, whatever. It's very, very frustrating to me and I don't like it. And so that actually causes me to struggle a little harder. With the cold weather, our cold weather shelters cannot take in as many people as will need them, so people are going to die. So that's very frustrating and anger inducing. Um, there's a lot going on in the sphere that I work in. Every time that there's a mistake, anytime that there is not enough done, that's actual human lives that are cost. And so it's frustrating, and I'm frustrated, and I'm struggling. And so I figured that I've not been on here for a while. That I would let you guys all know I'm alive, um, but also that I am kind of absorbing what the last year has held and what the future is going to hold and what our plans for tackling the incoming crises are going to be and how we can use viable viable solutions to help minimize and mitigate the effects of disasters. So it's been difficult and I'm sick and I don't feel good. And so this has all been rather negative and depressing. Sorry about that. I'm going to address some comments. Um, Howdy to that one girl. Animal. Happy New Year. Hello, Ricky Neal. If Einstein goes away, hi. It's Pete from North Carolina. Hope you had a great Christmas and a Happy New Year. Praying for you always. Thank you. Hi, keen to hear the struggle. Thank you, David. Hi, Matai. John Wick team. Bonjour from Paris. Hi from Seattle. Um, yeah, so I many times will wait until I like feel halfway decent or can get a hold of the struggle to at least put makeup on or do my hair or something. And today was not the day. Um, I'm just going to be honest and come on and tell it like it is. And it's a struggle lately. It's truly a struggle. And being in the sphere of being up close and personal to a lot of people's struggle. And, for like myself, one of the things that I struggle with is cold. Um, when we talk about triggers or triggering sensation, if I get cold and I have a hard time warming up because I have a condition called renounce. And so when I get cold, it's hard to warm up, but it throws me right back into being in a tent, wondering if I was going to die that night because I couldn't get warm. huddling around, rowing on this side and then switching sides so that our other side wouldn't freeze, you know. And when I'm thinking, you know, I might freeze during the night, it is trying to go to sleep with the knowledge that I might never wake up. Like, that's a very real thing. And so when I get cold, I snap back to that. That is a memory that I'll always have. And so it's been really cold. And then I also know that there are thousands of people struggling with exactly that same issue. And when we wait to open severe weather shelters, when we don't have enough shelter for people, there is going to be somebody out there that won't wake up. And I find that just unacceptable. Unacceptable to my soul, unacceptable to my heart. So, as much as I want to say it's been lovely and grand and everything else, this has been a very, very trying Christmas season for me. And I'm handling it well and doing okay, and I'm doing better than a lot of people, and I am grateful for that. But I'd be lying if I didn't say I wasn't struggling right now. Totally am. I know that I'm going to make it through, because I always do. And I have lovely friends and family and a great support system and a lot of people who are on my team cheering for me and others. And so that's absolutely lovely. But I stand in solidarity with everybody else too who might be struggling this holiday season. Let's see. Hi, Kimberly. Happy New Year. Matai, highlight of this year has been to get to know you. Thank you, Matai. Hi, Mama Mode. David, social workers burn out. Yes, David, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The burnout. Like, I hate doing this in front of a camera, to be honest. This work is exhausting. And I think for those of us who do the work and see the entirety of the issue and maybe have lived experience and know the true depth of what's going on, it is heart-wrenching. I have a million stories, and this year is no exception. It's just rough, and there's good that's happening. I am now vice chair for the Healthcare for the Homeless Network, Seattle King County Governance Council. That's part of our public health department. And so that's added on my other things, and so any chance I get to make a difference, I'm going to. But a lot of times that comes also with a very heavy emotional toll. And when that is piled on with being sick for 2 or 3 weeks, which is so frustrating. I'm so tired of being sick. I am tired of coughing. I'm tired of the runny nose. I am tired of being exhausted, like I just did tons of exercise, and yuck. I do not like being sick at all. Kimberly, happy New Year. Matai, you're a good person and strong. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mama Mode, you are real. I think that fits. I'm real. I don't know that I'm always a sweetheart, because I don't think that you can work in the sphere that I work in and be a sweetheart all the time. I think that really, I mean, I know what I look like. I know that I can come off as, rather sweet, but I think that sometimes you gotta really be, you gotta say things that are unpopular. You have to take stands that are not necessarily the same stance that everybody else thinks should be taken. You have to speak out even when your voice shakes. That's actually one of my favorite sayings. I think it was, stand strong, something about speaking even when your voice feels like it's shaking. And I believe that, and I've been there so many times. And I think that that's one of the benefits to that discourse is being able to be in these spheres and say those things, even if it means that you're probably not the most popular person in the room. And I'm totally okay with that. Like, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna be under a bridge. Like, done it, been there. um, oh, you're totally right person for the health chair. You heart lived experience for it. I think that I actually am, because I don't know if you remember, but I was going to be co-chair for the Human Rights Commission as well, which I'm still commissioner. But I actually rescinded the co-chair position, and that was good for me. It was the first time that, I was like, well, I don't know that, an up and coming position would be the right one. So I turned it down. But the vice chair of this organization is definitely right in my wheelhouse. And our chair, Patricia, is an amazing individual, and we work really well together. We're very communicative, and so I think that we're going to usher in some. I'm really excited about where we're going this year and our thought processes on the agendas at hand. So super excited about that. But yes, being sick is a tough struggle. I hate being sick. Thank you, Matai. You get sick partially because of your stress. It becomes a vicious cycle. True. And I'm actually immunosuppressed. So I take a medication that suppresses my immune system. So whereas like the kids, they'll run their cycle with colds and stuff like that, but I get every single thing, and it's usually not asymptomatic. So like if somebody comes in the house and they may not even know that, like say they have strep and they don't know it, I will get a severe case of strep. If somebody comes in the house like with RSV, I ended up getting RSV. I that's not something I can control, but it is a struggle because, at the same time, there is a 4, 3, and 2-year-old waiting for me to be on my game and, a full time career to where I need to be on my game too. And also that whole pesky sleep thing, which is few and far between. Actually, I lied. I sleep because I have to. Like, I can't function at all without sleep. And so I do take my night meds and I make sure that I get sleep. And lately, I have also been napping during the day, which I don't like because that's not a habit of mine. When I'm up in the morning, I'm up for the day. I don't do the whole nap during the day, but lately I've been having, like, I had to take one tonight. Yesterday, Shelly, I had to have her take the kids because I was so exhausted, like I couldn't even let her sleep. So it's like I say, I'm blessed beyond belief. And I think that's where most people that I talk to get it twisted. Like somehow if I am detailing a struggle that I don't know how blessed I am. I do. I recognize I am a blessed individual, and I am grateful beyond measure for that. But I also realize that the reality of life is that we struggle, and sometimes things are hard, and sometimes it's just is the way it is. And I am the person that wants to address it and also let other people know, because that was something I was really struggling with, right? Is I was even talking to some friends and I'm like, hey, this is getting really hard. Like, I have my grandchildren, sometimes like 50 plus hours a week, and I'm trying, to have a full time career and really move ahead with those goals and, do outreach, and then trying to have time to do anything that I like and the things I love. And I was having a hard time. And I would say over 50% of the time, they'd be like, well, you need to be grateful for. Stop. If you are one of those people, please don't do it anymore. Like that whole you need to be, it is so reminiscent of like being in foster care, and like they'd be like, you must be so grateful someone took you in. It's like, do you realize somebody had to traumatize me before this for all this to take place? Like, careful what you ask people to be, be grateful for your own stuff. And I was like, I am grateful, but if I just say, and put on this facade like everything's grand, everything's lovely. It is lovely, it is grand, but it's also very real and it's very hard. And I think anybody who has, whether it be parent or grandparent, that has three toddlers, the majority of the time, it gets very difficult. And it's difficult to manage and to do so with a career. And then, like Shelly, she's working full time. And so it's me and her that got this. There's, the only other outside help we have is Gypsy today came up and helped a little bit, or sometimes the grandparents will have them from Friday to Saturday, the other grandparents. But, this is rough, and it's indicative of the way our work-life balance is here in the United States, and indicative of how we treat our employees as far as childcare and healthcare and all those other things. But yeah, I think that it's important to talk about it, and I think it's important to share with people the realities of things, and with that understanding that the people know they're blessed, they know they are grateful, but there are things to talk out. um, so let's go up here. I'm stressed too, but we'll be fine. I'm sure we will. Mom would stress when you're ill is needed to heal the body. I know, and that frustrates me so bad. That whole, I know I need extra rest, but having to get it frustrates me. I get so mad. Like, I've been so angry. I've been so tired. Like, just taking naps mad. Like, I have to take a nap, but I'm so mad about it. I need to be working. Like, I need to get these emails out. Oh my gosh. Hi, Amanda. Embrace the new year. I know you can. Is it a still wonder? Yes. Yes, and I want it to go away. I can look at pictures of snow, but I have zero desire to be cold ever. And I love the area, and this is not something we normally have. Usually, like if we have snow, it's like maybe a day or two, but this is not a thing for us normally. I mean, unless you go to the mountains, like we're surrounded by mountains, you can get snow there. Giving yourself a pat on the back for giving your body what you need. Thank you. Mattia, greetings from Croatia, greetings from Seattle. Same here. I have adrenal insufficiency and take steroids daily than Enbrel. I take Cosentix. And I'm about to be a really hurt puppy because when it came in, I handed the package to my son and told him to put it in the fridge. And he misunderstood and put it in the freezer, which if you take a biologic, you know that degrades the biologic. So I may not end up having any this month. And I'm trying not to even think about that. Like, it was a genuine mistake, and I don't think insurance will cover another dose. But I'm gonna try, and if not, I'll just have to cope. I don't know what else to do. Um, let's see. Bless everyone with your inner light. Thank you, David. Some blessed people don't give anything back. Ultimately, showing gratitude is personal choice of the heart and capability. Yeah, and I think that, I think regardless of, even if you're not grateful, maybe you don't want to be grateful for nothing or whatever, you can still give to your community. Like, even if you're not real happy, like we can do angry give back. I don't know. Everybody can get involved. Let's see. I worked in customer service for years and years and had to fake happy daily. It's absolutely exhausting. Yeah, and I refuse to do it. And if I feel like I have to fake happy, I'll just not come on. Like, that's just how that is. I am not one to fake emotion. As many of you know who have followed me for a long time, I'm a survivor of traumatic brain injuries, and bipolar. So what that did is it takes the normal stages of bipolar, right? The, cyclical 3 months, whatever the cycle is for you. And it just pushes them into a matter of just everything's constantly, all the time, just emotion. And there's constant conversation in my head, and that has a lot of emotion in it too. So I don't ever want to be in a place, like I get really uncomfortable anywhere that I feel that I have to mask anymore. Like, I got to a stage where I just refused to do it. I refused to mask. I refused to fake happy. I refused to fake, like, okay, except for if I am getting, if I know I'm in a space where the passion is heightened, because a lot of us are very passionate about what we do. And so things are getting really heated or passionate. I can step out of that sphere for just a second to not necessarily mask, but to make sure that the emotions that I'm presenting are productive in the sphere. So I would say that's a form of masking, but I try not to do. I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's exhausting. That masking is just, it's exhausting. And that is one thing that, I realized I could never do again was customer service, or any service really where I'm having interaction one-on-one constantly with members of the public, because that's just not me. And I take that stuff on. Like, um, yes, you do bless all of us. Thank you, Kathy. That was very nice. Erin, hi. Happy New Year from Hawaii. Hawaii or Hawa. um, Frustrates me too. I want to get everything done. Ah, it's nice to see you, Erin. Frustrates me too. I want to get everything done too. Right? Right? How much is the dose? How can we help? There isn't anything anybody can do to help. I really, the the Cosentyx comes in, like, I think it's 175 milligram doses every 2 weeks. And so I have to contact my rheumatologist and just like make sure with her. And more than likely, because of the way insurance works, they don't replace the dose. So it more than likely will be, I will see if she can get me an infusion of something in the meantime, or she may just have me wait until then, or I'm not sure what's going to happen. But there really is nothing anybody can do about it. It's something that I'm very lucky. I've been on the medication for a couple of years now and never had anything happen to it. So this is like a first for me. And that's really good. Like, in the sphere of everything, I haven't had any like accidental anything, like lost a dose or had anything messed up with it. So hopefully they'll be like, they'll give me a little bit of grace. But maybe not, because it's a lot of money. um, I had to fake happy or I would be fired. Yup. Yes. That, the forcing, yes, absolutely. And I'm sorry you had to go through that. I'm sorry anybody has to go through that. But yeah, I am from foster home. I know how beautiful you are and what you can do. I know. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, that is one thing, having, that is something that a lot of us and Gypsy also was in foster care, and it is something that really can't be understood unless you've been through it. And you got different sides to that one as well, but it's a rough, that one's a rough one. Happy New Year, Miss. May the New Year bring you inner peace. Thank you, Tahir. Honey Badgers, hi to you. That one, girl. When I was a cocktail waitress and bartender, I have you pussy and still got great tips. I was a bartender, and that's something I actually found out, and I don't know why that is, but I could be my real self, right? If I was irritated, I could show some irritation. I didn't have to like mask quite as heavily, and I still made good money. But when I was a server, like when I was younger and a server, my attitude got me in trouble a lot. And because I'm just not, my face shows it all. So even if I'm trying to fake something, it'll usually come up. And then it gets dicey, because then, people are like, what are you thinking? And then I'm like, tell you. And then they don't want to know. um, Cocktail, Honey Badgers RA. No, I have SA, which is spondylosing ankylosing. I'm sorry, not SA. AS, ankylosing spondylitis. It's a spinal arthritis, And yeah, it sucks. And it affects my eyes and other things. And so that it's, I'm alive. I'm alive. And that's good. Like, and I'm still walking and I'm still, able to, that is something I'm very lucky. I've got lucky. I have hypermobility, so I'm able to still kind of, keep myself exercising and doing the things that I can keep my mobility a little bit longer than maybe. I wish you lived here in Sweden where we have free healthcare. How about you so much? Oh, thank you. I think that it's really important for me to be in a place where I am right now, even if it's not free healthcare, to be able to fight for that for other people. We are in a space here where the disparity, the gap is so wide, right? You have people that may not have it all and are struggling, but they're okay, right? So they're eating every day, they have access to clean drinking water. If they need to wash up, there's a bathroom that they can use or something of that sort. So we have that, but then we have people with absolutely nothing. And that's where I was before, right? So there was no access, a regular access to clean drinking water. You had to wait till either the library opened up or you try to hit some outside taps, where people fill up their hoses. You try to like go at night and, fill up your buckets or whatever. So you had some drinking water. But the disparity is so wide that we literally need people like me to be here fighting and letting people know why it's so important and why human rights are important and you know providing data as to why it matters and how you know this issue affects all of us. So let's see. Oh, thank you so much. Who was that? Did it tell me? Oh, Honey Badger, thank you so very much. I appreciate that. Um, Amazing person, much love to you. Thank you, Honey Badgers. Your smile makes me big. Ouch. Very great. Thank you. What was for dinner last night? Last night's dinner consisted. Last night's dinner consisted of I had these. Shelly had fed the kids before they got here, and thankfully, because I was so tired. And then I was like gonna get to work, and so I had these like thin steaks laid out. So I fried it up with a little bit of soy and chili garlic sauce, and then I chopped some onions up, and I put that in there because I'm having like some congestion, so I've been trying to like eat a lot of onions. It's okay. I have no sense of smell, so it's fine. So I chopped up a bunch of onions and cooked all that together and then took that off the heat. And I was gonna cook some cabbage, but the cabbage I had in the fridge wasn't good anymore because I would have definitely cooked cabbage with that. But then I just made some eggs and then I put it in the middle of the eggs and ate it all up. And then tonight, because everybody is sick and tired and just on one today, Shelly ordered pizza. So we had Domino's pizza tonight. But she got my favorite kind, which was really yummy. She made sure to get chicken bacon and Alfredo, which I really like. um, See, they say that this is the greatest country and we don't have universal medical and dental. Heck, some don't even have clean drink. Many don't have clean drinking water. And, you know, I am loath to say any place is the greatest because here's the thing. We all have a warm spot from where we're from, right? That's our home. But I don't think that I think if any country was the greatest, you would be able to tell that they were the greatest by how they treat those who are marginalized and how they treat those that, you know, have nothing, or how do they treat the members in their society that are disabled? You know, how do they treat the least of these? And that'll tell you if a country is great. And I am part of the our national interfaith partners for National Coalition for the Homeless. By the way, first humanist. Um, but and that's really important to me too, is providing equity and diversity in those spheres as well, because I think people get really caught up in vying for recruits for their whatever their belief system, and that gets swept away in the actual cause. And so by having equity and diversity on all levels, in other words including many people of many different faiths, not just monotheistic, but several several gods to zero gods, and we all work together, and it's really great. And definitely support that. I forgot where I was going with that. I got like off track there. Um, but what I was gonna say is that in this, nope, I lost it. It's gone. Like I don't know what happened. It was definitely I had a thought and then I didn't. It was gone just that fast. I had like a whole trajectory of where I was going, and yeah. Noodles is here, says hi, but her gut has her tonight. Oh, tell her hello, and I hope she feels better. We're gonna get paid. Thank you, Honey Badger. I appreciate it all, even just the being here and the talking and all of that. I just love it. Um, Maybe you had the will and time to listen to my song about homelessness. I believe you said that, and I don't think I got a chance to listen to it yet. Please send it again. I will be honest, I am having a hard time getting through all my emails, even just for work. That's part of the struggling, is like, well, I'm really tired. And so everything's just been just wearing me out. So any extra time I've had has been going to like sleep or eating. And so I really haven't been answering people back on email. I really haven't been. The last 2 weeks, I'm super behind. So forgive me for that. Send it back, and I could probably search for it through my email and find it. It'll be fine. Pizza is good. It is. Good morning, Jess. We had ribs, butter, garlic, noodles, and corn. Ooh, that sounds good. Erin, you're amazing with all that you go through. To see your beautiful smiles, it brings tears in my eyes. Thank you, Erin. And I believe, Erin, there's something I always remember. I think you also struggle with TBI too. And it just, that's definitely its own unique struggle there. And yeah, just wishing you the best. Wishing you the best. And it's nice to see you on here. I haven't seen you in a few. We don't treat people very well. No, we don't. We don't. I think that's also the thing too, because here's the thing. We like to say that we treat people well, right? In this country, we like to have it. We like to have the image or the optics be this, but in reality, under the surface, it's very different. And this is definitely a country that is rife with classism, and I would say that we have very defined classes, and as things are shifting, it's kind of great to see that some of the narrative that was false is falling away, and so people are getting a real look at situations that maybe they weren't accustomed to or didn't know about, and are finally coming to realize that we're all in this together. We're not all in the same situation, but we are all in it together. And if something impacts those who have the least, or are, the least of us, if it's impacting them hard, it's impacting us. Like, this is, our world works through connections, and it's interconnected. So that's, I think, where our mind needs to be. Do I have any new plans for this year? Yes. I was accepted into like an academy thing that Bring Human Rights Go Local. And so that's through, I think, the UN program. And so I'm super excited about that. And I want to travel this year a little bit. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. But we are looking to get childcare for the babies so that I will be going to Oakland in February, Oakland, California, for the National Alliance to Ending Homelessness, their conference for 2022, if we hold it in person. Um, and I'm just hoping to get out even and maybe do some fun travel. So I don't know. I believe that each year presents with amazing new opportunities and also new challenges. And so I just hope that I have the stamina and the perseverance and the attitude to make sure that this year, not only mine and my close people's lives go for the better, but also that our world is too. So, like, my goal every year is to just be better and do better. Like, I can't think of another because each singular goal, like, I could write out lists, but I think that every year is just be better, do better. Um, Learn from the past, understand that you can't go back, use that data to make a projection for the future and move ahead. um, there's such a divide in America. There really is. David, if you are not represented in popular culture, you don't exist. Invisibility leads to ignoring. That is true too, Erin. You speak the truth. Boop boop. They're with the train. Divide and conquer. Sadly, that is what these politicians want. I don't know that. I think that what happens is politicians want what they want pretty much for their party, right? So they're not really thinking about the greater good. Very few of them, Bernie Sanders being an exception. But they're not really thinking too much about the greater good of everybody. They're thinking about the greater good of their party or their ideals for their party. And I don't think that it's a divide strategy. I think that that is where we come in as people. I think that we have ignored something so deeply. We have ignored some problems so completely and absolutely that the divide has grown to where it's not even politics, it's ways of life. Um, you know, the disagreements aren't over, if somebody wants to be Pentecostal versus Catholic versus Muslim. That's not a disagreement anymore. Is the disagreement is on values. Is it okay for a child to sit in a cage? That's these things I keep hearing, and even my friends will tell me, don't bring politics up. And I'm like, here's the thing. If I'm telling you something, like King County has 40,000 plus people right now that are experiencing homelessness in our county. That's our county, 40,000 plus. If I tell my friend that, they immediately are like, hey, don't be bringing up politics. For me, if I don't care about party, people shouldn't be dying on the street. Like, that's a value thing. And anybody who disagrees is definitely divided from me. Like, I think that we call it politics, but what it really is ways of life and values. I think that there are deep, deep divides on values in this country. And I honestly don't have the answers for that. I try to reach people where they are. So I know that if I'm speaking to somebody who really doesn't have a lot of empathy towards people, I need to be able to speak to them as to how it's going to hit them financially, because that may be what they care about. But there really are people that are so divided from understanding this value. So I really don't think it's politics that divided us. I think that we really grew into different distinct values and ways of life. And that's going to take a lot more to work on than just electing different leaders. That's going to have to really be, firm on where we as people stand on how we treat others and our environment. And yeah, because I'll be honest, I work in this sphere all the time, and very, very rarely do I even when thinking about policy and legislation, because I work on that too, I don't even think about the politicians. Honestly, I don't care who they are, not even a little bit. Do I care when they assault people and do things like, yeah, like I would anybody? Don't do that. That's a criminal act. But I don't care. I'm doing this for those who don't have. I'm not doing this to, like, and I don't think many of us are doing anything to, if we're doing it for the right reasons, for any political reason. It's because that's where our values are. So, but I understand how you would think that, and a lot of people think that with the politics, because the thing is our lives are governed by policy. Everything we do is policy. My road not being cleared at all it's because we don't have policies in place for snowstorms or infrastructure either. It's crazy. Um, dear, dear tree, it's good to see you too. Sorry if I did not pronounce that right. It is such a pretty name, Driti. That's how the Romans conquered a lot. Yep. Noodles just said thank you. Her stomach feels like it is dying. Oh no. Um, I if my stomach hurts really bad and I don't know if it'll help, but tell her to take some hot water and just put some baking soda, like a tablespoon of baking soda and like 3 tablespoons of hot water, and just kind of like a shot, and drink a little warm water on that. And usually that'll help a little bit. It might help. But when my stomach's hurting really bad, that sometimes will help. I'm tired, no problem. It's, I'm voting for this song from her friend here. I have a good feeling about that. Good. I said insightful. Thank you. Stress always lands in her gut. I have an issue. I have an issue with stress too. Stress hits me and just like, yeah, it just messes with me. So hopefully she can find something that helps, but try baking soda water. That's usually what I tell my friends. Sweden is not the greatest country. That's the thing is, I mean, that's it. It's very reminiscent of like when people like and they call like greatest country in the world. It's like, yeah, well, this restaurant like around here anyway. You like go out in the rural areas and it'll be like world's greatest burger, and it's like, who's measuring? Like, who is the deciding factor? Is it world? And where's the scale? And what are we measuring to decide great as what? Is it a great tasting burger? Is it the best well done burger? Is it the greatest color burger? Like there's so many different deciding things. Like when we talk, in those kind of tones about countries, because I mean, there are 195 countries that are just like amazing. So one of the things I do for fun is I go on to like the Airbnb website and I just look at all the cool places that I could possibly go in all these amazing countries. And then start from there. I'll like find this cool little place, and then I'll learn a little bit about the area and be like, that is even cooler. And learn about all these places. And I would be hard pressed to say anything is the greatest when I haven't even been everywhere else, if that makes any sense. Like, how can I say that, like, well, I can say, like, Rowan is the greatest, but Rowan is the greatest dog to me. If I don't know, I think she's pretty amazing. I don't want to say anything else, but you know what I'm saying. Yes, we all need to come together and stay together, rule over the government. Yes. Well, that's the way it should be. Where is the conference? The conference for National Alliance for Ending Homelessness is in Oakland, California. And our national conference this year for Healthcare Network for the Homeless will be held in Seattle. Yay! Make the politics actually work for the people. Yep. We just figured it out. She ate salad. Oh. Oh, she didn't know she was going into a flare and ate what didn't work with her guy. Oh, yeah, right. Oh, I am giving her faraway hugs. The type, I like Bernie Sanders. Me too. He was pretty amazing. Um, I hope that one day we will all meet in Seattle to visit you. Oh, that would be so cool. That'd be awesome. That'd be like the best video ever. Politics of the personal reality. Yes. Hi, Markio. How can we help those who don't want to change? You can't. Well, here's the thing. You can. You can help them. You may not have the help that they need though. And I think a lot of people get that twisted, right? Like if I walk up and I tell people, I have a bunch of shelter referrals, and they're like, no, thank you. And I don't dig any deeper, then I'm just like, well, they don't want any help. But what I might not know is that all of them are already on a housing wait list. Two of them can't stay in shelters because of whatever reason. You know, there's so many things that go into it. So the thing is you can help people, but you can't make them do things. Um, and so for myself, I think it like this, okay? Say somebody doesn't want to get a license to drive. They think it's ridiculous. They shouldn't have to have one. They're not going to get one. And they come out and they do all this stuff, and then they get into a car accident and they're hurt. I can help them. I can physically help them, but I can't change them. So what you do is you offer help, and if that person says no, you move on. Like, don't, I will have conversations with people to educate and enlighten them to different aspects of different things. But when I realize that that person has shut me out and nothing I say is going to make a difference, I don't. I just done. Walk away. Go on to the next person. We need everybody working together. And if that person has already decided that they're not on board, we are in crisis state. Leave them. Maybe there'll be another person who will come by that can help them, and you're freeing yourself up to help somebody that needs your help, and somebody else can help them. Like, that's one thing, you know, like I tell people, don't even think about, like, don't feel bad if you literally can't help somebody. Like, there will be somebody hopefully that can, but you can move on and offer what you have to somebody who needs what you have. Let's see. It's so sad. I wish we could all get along and figure out everything together. Well, we can, but the issue is that a lot of times, I mean, we definitely can. We can all get along, but that's a problem, right? Because we need to have some serious discussions. And many times what happens is these discussions are hard. These discussions are heart-wrenching. These decisions affect people's lives. But what I see a lot of times is a devolving into, instead of a healthy debate and a healthy way of coming together and working through issues, because it's not all friendly sometimes. I literally am in meetings sometimes where we are interrupting, and people can say what they want, but sometimes there's some interrupting that happens, and sometimes there's some really passionate talking. I'm not going to say that people are yelling at each other, because that doesn't happen, but I know for myself, I am super passionate about what I do. And sometimes that can come across as some very stern talking. But I think where we need to be is the ability to have these discussions with each other. We are so focused on, if something is unpleasant, it must be an attack. And instead of being able to say, you know, this is evidence, this is fact, and this, you know, you may have whatever belief you want about a fact, but to try to change facts or to fit a narrative is not acceptable either. So, and I'm always on team, pretty much on team fact. Like, I will refer to peer-reviewed data just about every time. Let's see. To hear your voice and really my thank you. I can't say that then all politicians. Like, I think that there are good politicians. Um, I don't. I think that their job, instead of, I think that they should understand when going in, at least like have like a little webinar for them that's like, you're not here to be liked. Like, I don't know who has to get the message to them for that. I get they're not there to be liked. They're there to help the people. And that should go beyond party. And I don't understand why it doesn't. And I think too many times that there are ethical boundaries that are crossed, and that we just don't seem to care about ethics and due diligence as much when our politicians are elected, and it has gotten to the point where rather than working for the people, they're more almost like celebrity status, and that really shouldn't be. And I find that to be odd, honestly. Just kind of weird. um, 40,000 humans without proper housing is not politics. It's a horrible, heartbreaking, preventable reality. Yes, 1000% mama mode. That right there. Like, so much of this is beyond politics and beyond borders and beyond, we have to come together as people from everywhere and really lift up that veil and address what's happening in our world, and that's going to take a lot of strong-minded people who are passionate from all walks, like technology to policy to on the ground to healthcare to there's so many facets. um, I'd be willing to meet Seattle John Wick team. Just want to wait for the pandemic to ease up. Yes, please do. Everybody, please. Please. Oh, take it seriously. This is just, oh, I don't know if any of you play games, but there was this game before the pandemic, and it's called Plague. And I used to, even when I was unhoused, I used to play it. And and pretty much it has advanced. Like, I'm surprised. I'm like, I would have thought that, in reality we would have done much better. Because I was like, oh, okay. And the virus did exactly what it was meant to do. I always hope it's okay. Politics are values. Yes, David. Oh, I'm sorry. It is not translated. I'm going to guess and say that it's Russian, but I definitely could be wrong because I don't speak the language. So I'm sorry. I can't translate right at this second. She's going to try it. Good. I hope it helps. Keep me posted. FC. Heart to you. Are people like Meghan Markle, as an example, too rich and remote to reach the problems of real people? Oh, David, I think that's up to them, right? Because I think if you isolate yourself, yes. But then when we look at people, like Meghan Markle, she's a younger actress. And just now starting on her family, had that whole thing with like the royals. But that's the thing. I don't like the people like the royals and things like that. I honestly don't know what they do. No clue. It has very little impact on me and what I do. I know they're not going to come popping out of the woodwork when we have a snowstorm to save up some lives. So their comings and goings is really not on my radar at all. I would hope that no one loses touch so much as that they cannot see the truth of what is happening. But I know that there are people like that. I would just say that I know, like Angelina Jolie, she is a UN ambassador and she does amazing work across the globe and is a major celebrity. But the funny thing is you'll hear about her in a major celebrity context rather than what she's doing for the world, which is again how things kind of play out. But I think that that's a personal choice whether somebody is out of touch or not. It doesn't take much to get in touch. It just takes wanting to learn and going and learning. And anybody could do it. Um, I saw your cat. Yes, actually, I have Raja and my grand kitty Mischief here, and they are chasing themselves all over. Sweden is really nice. Next year we will be going to Hatabo. Okay, I will try to pronounce that not on air. I like trying to pronounce something not on air. Mexico is the only other country I've been to, and it's not even far from Phoenix. I lived in Germany for a while and traveled in that region. My oldest daughter was born in Germany, and so, but I'd like to experience so much more. And, you know, oh, and Ty, my daughter, my oldest daughter, actually just took a trip to Europe and spent a month in Europe in different places from Dublin to Amsterdam to France. And yeah, she went all over and had a great time. Um, I think it's really important. If you're able, and I understand that that is also really a privilege to be able to travel, to be able to do those things is a privilege that a lot of people don't have. And so I want to learn about cultures. There's so much to see and experience and learn, and people to talk to, and funds to be had. um, Meghan Markle is only about herself and making money. Yeah, I have no idea, guys. I don't, like, I honestly know very little about any kind of celebrity stuff. I know a Swedish guy that drives without a license. Great advice. Support, yes. Thank you for asking my question. I never thought about it that way. I just care about people. I wish they could try to change and not make it hard for themselves. You can't force. And, you know, there's many times that people would be like, well, like even for me, they'd be like, well, why didn't you do A, B, and C? It's like, well, because that wouldn't have worked for me. That wasn't necessarily my option. I think that people might understand their choices much better from the position that they're in rather than like me looking in and telling them what their choices should be or are. Because sometimes it was even simple things, right? So a lot of times, like if you walk around the city, you'll find pallets. And people are like, well, why didn't you build a pallet house? I got to go to the library and look stuff up because, you know, I have the basics, but, you know, like I'm not in construction, so I'd have to learn that. And I was like, and then also getting the tools. So that's extra time that I'm going to have to spend panhandling or whatever to get money for the tools. And then at some point, I'm going to have to eat. I have to feed myself and I have to gather water. So how am I going to do all of those things and make medical appointments and still be building a place? Like it wasn't a reality that I was going to make come true. At the end, I finally did get a rechargeable saw and was able to start cutting up wood, but then I got housed. But there, you know, I think sometimes when we look at people's choices, maybe we can see they might know better what their options are, if that makes sense. My husband was homeless for some time before I knew him and he would work wherever he could and got out of homelessness. He now works as an EMT. Okay, I have heard those stories a lot, but I also would like to let everybody know right now that for somebody to just get a job while homeless is very unattainable in this day and age. Here is why. Zero address. Almost everything that you're going to apply for, even fast food positions, everything else must be applied for online. You must fill that out. Your online application, if you do not fill out a phone number and address, will not go through. So if you do not have a phone number and you do not have an address, you're not getting a job through that online application. If you have, you know, a friend's phone number, that is at the discretion of your friend, and that also you are counting on somebody else's reliability to do that. So I had that brought up a lot too, like why did there was a couple of times like I offered to sweep or hey, I'll do some dishes or whatever. People are, I remember I was remembering what it was like from like a rural area, like rural Montana when I was like a teenager. And that is not the case in a city, and it is not a case here anymore. You need to be online and you need to have a background check and you need to do that. There are there are exceptions to that, but the rule is that everything we fill out online. And so it has become even more barriers in place to finding any job that pays anything. And a lot of times, the employment that is offered to people who are experiencing homelessness is part time, and it's usually for lower pay. So, what'll happen is they'll say, hey, we're paying $15 an hour, or we're paying $18 an hour, but you're only going to work 25 hours. So, this person now, because when you're housed, you don't have the amount of work to do that you do when you're homeless, okay? If I want to drink a water, I walk over to my sink, I fill up a cup, I drink my cup of water, and I'm done. If I'm unhoused, I need to hopefully find a clean cup. I need to go gather that water. If I haven't already gathered it, I need to go gather that water, bring it back, drink it, or go somewhere. Like walk blocks to go get a drink of water. Same thing with using the restroom. Same thing with getting clean. Same thing with being able to pop on my computer, and there's just so much more. I can be 1,000 times more productive by having my basic needs met. But a lot of times when we do that, we leave these people still experiencing homelessness, give them a job that won't pay for them to be housed. And then we wonder, it's like, yeah, it's a really weird dynamic. And my thing is if you're gonna offer, like, especially the city, I always say this, I'm like, if you're gonna offer something, offer them to get off the street. Like, make sure that the job you're paying them is going to be the job you would pay somebody else to do this. Like, this cannot be where they have to get two, three more jobs. That's not a help up. That's actually a hindrance and a barrier to being able to get up and out. Because while it is lovely and I see people do it all the time, but I always said, I'm not going to do this. And this is something that I hear a lot. Well, I am not everybody else. My needs, my abilities are so far different from other people's. And so while it can be a way to say, hey, well, this is the way I did it. That is a lot of times people like me and others who and sometimes those others like, I picked myself up. We didn't. We were all given opportunities to do the best that we could do, but we're outliers. In other words, we don't fit the majority of the data coming in. So if you were to take if it's say on a sheet of paper, right? You don't know me. So you're like, okay, we have all of this on the sheet of paper. This has happened, this has happened, this has happened, this led to this. These are like symptoms, right? So all these symptoms add up and they end in trauma later on in life. And so you're looking at this piece of paper and this trauma. Well, by looking at this and the statistics with all of these things, a person like this should be here. But I'm not. I'm up here because of whatever reason. Resilient, there's a million different factors that come into that as well. So, I guess I try to offer grace whenever possible because I don't know what that person sees when they close their eyes. Like, I don't know what demons they're battling. And a lot of times I know it's much greater than I could ever imagine. And so I try to give grace because I've needed it so much in my life. Let's see. Shelter setting isn't a good fit for lots of people. And we are now saying congregate shelters have never been a great thing. And we're changing, and I'm so excited about this, but we are changing the narrative from charity to human rights. this idea somehow that that taking care of one another is charity is not. It is human rights, and we have a responsibility to each other. Um, and I think that that is something that I'm noticing coming up more and more, and I'm glad to take part in that narrative as well. And congregate shelters have never been great. And honestly, most of them are rife with problems. That anytime that your solution to people going through a traumatic event is shoving them all in a room with a bunch of blankets, and it hasn't changed since Victorian times, might want to rethink. Like, um, just thank you. I hope you'll have a great time in Sweden. Oh my gosh, you're so sweet and genuine. Thank you, Erin. I appreciate that. Jess, some people have strict opinions like dogmas for their mental safety, and their safety fades if you try to discuss with them, so they get angry and offensive. Um, I agree with that. And that is one thing that, yes, yes. And that is another thing that I try to remember to have grace with is that if someone just cannot discuss or says stop, just I stop, like it's done, okay. But that also means that I'm very careful to not let them re-engage me later. So if they want to stick to that dogma and they refuse to um, address disparities in human rights, or just, refuse to address larger issues, that is fine, and I can disengage. But what I'm not going to do is wait until it becomes a situation where I have disengaged and they try to engage me again. I'm at that point, once I've said, okay, well, obviously, for your own mental health and safety, or whatever reason it is, because I don't usually know what reason. I don't try to understand. If they're shutting down, I let them shut down and I remove. But I've also noticed it sometimes in those scenarios, after I disengage, remove, the person will then try to engage strongly in the other aspect, and that's when I have to say, we've already disengaged, we don't need to talk about it no more. I have other work to do. Amanda, please save this broadcast for everyone to see, because you make so much sense. I was complaining, like the first 10 minutes of this broadcast, I was complaining about how I don't feel good. I kind of feel bad about that. David, they like to get elected and reelected. Thank you, web surfer guy. Oh, hi, Investors World. I gotta read this message. Hold on. The way I see it, if I was in need, I would hope that someone would lend me a hand so I can help people if I'm in a position to do so. So I try not to overcomplicate things. Anyway, have a wonderful year. I actually have to say something to you, web surfer guy. You sent supplies here, and I want to say thank you, because one night, like, I was sick, the snow was coming down. I'd gone to the gas station, and there was a guy in a wheelchair, and he just had like a hospital blanket covering him. So immediately, grabbed some hot hands and other stuff. And then the next day it was snowing so hard, and my son was able to take that Mylar and those other supplies, and we were able to help people. And that saves lives. So I want you to know what you did, and I want to say thank you. We're not used to this kind of cold, and we're not used to this kind of snow. And so this is really, really difficult on people right now, especially those that don't have anywhere. And so by providing those things, you kept people warm. And thank you. Thank you so much for that, truly. Ernie, thank you so much. You are so awesome. I appreciate your honesty. I hope you have a new Happy New Year's. Thank you. You rock. I play video games. I do somewhat. I do, but I don't. Like, I want to say I do, because I do when I have time, but I have such little time anymore that if given a choice between painting or photography or playing a game, I would probably choose painting or photography. Combat. Google Translate considering Russian. Well done. Respect. Was able to defeat hopelessness. Awesome. Oh, ouch. I'm not a metal person either. It's just fine. And this is Raja, for those of you who don't know. This is the Raja baby. How are you doing? Let's see. Your Rosa Parks from the End House. Stay true to you and your message and take care of you so no one can serve your mission. Yeah, thank you. VORE red. Um, I've been to Mexico at least 20 times. I'd love to head to the country to the north. Have many Canadian friends. Um, Canada again is cold. I imagine when I travel, I'm probably gonna stick to some warmer places. I truly don't like the cold. I do not like being cold at all. You see? Yeah, honey badger, your husband should receive a higher salary for that kind of tough work. Absolutely, and that's another thing too. I meant to like, depending on the United States is a huge country, like truly, and they're so varied, even within the states, as to a living wage and market rate. It's the differences are sometimes like catastrophic, and it's just strange to see. And yes, people get paid like very little for doing extremely important work. And yeah, and that's on employers. Like they keep doing it and they keep getting away with it and people keep working for them. But definitely our EMS and our paramedics and our responders, they're critical. And I think that our healthcare workers and responders have really been through it in the last couple of years. Cannot do things until physically possible, and even then needs to be physically possible. Absolutely. I played with personal. Amanda, that needs to be changed big time. Yeah. Homelessness is a real disconnect, worse than unemployment. Attitudes of the responsible are nauseating, cruel, and despairing. Yes, and I think that that's where, David, I think that that's where it comes like that. I'm willing to battle. Like sometimes I'm willing to go toe to toe. And when it comes down to fighting for people that I know are just trying to survive for the day, and they don't have, like, that's the thing, is when you're unhoused, you don't have the energy to fight for yourself like that. You don't have the energy to show up, and even if you do show up, you smell funky sometimes because you haven't, bathing's hard, and so nobody's going to listen to what you have to say anyway. And so I want to make sure that people do listen, and I want to make sure that we are speaking truth, and I want to make sure that there's education and that people who are in charge of making these decisions are making so from an educated place and from a real place and not from a stereotypical place. And so, yeah, I have no problem being a warrior when called upon. And that's why I always find it kind of funny too, because everyone's like, "Oh, I do get the whole you're so sweet" and everything else. And so I've heard that before, and I'm just like, yeah. Until it comes for fighting for human rights, because I am definitely about that. My hubby dug ditches when he was homeless. He bettered himself and became an EMT. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's great that he, bettered himself or whatever. But like I was saying as well, just like in your husband's situation, that's an outlier, somebody who is able to, dig ditches. Like there was like, I don't know if you guys saw, I interviewed this guy, I think his name was Marvin, and he was like 6'6", something like that, big old guy. And like he had people like yelling at him, "Go to work, lazy bum, blah 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 blah." And you totally would never know until you lifted up his shirt and you see like the just scarred back from like all the surgeries he'd had on his spine. He literally couldn't do stuff like that, but people would just like hound him about it. So it's such a thing. I'm glad that your husband was able to do it. And yes, your husband deserves health care. So do you. Everybody. That's the thing. Everyone deserves a livable wage, and that's not a livable wage, and that's not okay. And for some reason, it just keeps happening. Um, see, trauma rescue, tossing in more trauma. It's not exactly rescue, right? Glad you're getting improvements going. Yay. um, Let me know if there's anything on the Amazon wish list that is more priority than others. I will. I will. I haven't gone in there in a hot minute. Really, I'm just trying to figure out what to do. We're having an issue. Everything's shut down. So, like places people would normally go to get water and things like that, like the library, are shut down. Um, and for some reason, our city started ramping up sweeps again. I'm not gonna get on the helpless train. I don't. I'm not helpless. We're not helpless, but I definitely need to put some thought into there. So I will make sure to go onto the list and really look at the priorities and put them on there. And thank you so very much for that. Let's see. Raja has grown so much. She is. She's getting so big, huh? Look, it's a little big kitty now. Is she big? She's a big baby, is what she is. Um, Thank you. She is beautiful, isn't she? Like, she is just like the sweetest too. She's so gentle. I mean, she's a big love bug. I love having her around. Um, yes, being productive, painting, etc. is better than just wasting time on an electrical device. I'm playing video games too and recognize that I feel better reducing the gaming time. I do really like though VR. I'm not gonna lie, I really do like VR and I do like playing. I just like I'll end up and also and don't do this yourself, but I get into like guilt spirals where I'll be like, I need to be doing something. Like if I don't do it, no, there's tons of people working on it. It's okay to take time off and it's definitely okay to have fun. Like, sometimes I get caught up in the, um, I call it like the guilt trap. Like, if I don't do it, it's never going to get done. No, there are thousands of people who are working on the same goals I am. It's going to take a huge group effort, and it's okay to sit back sometimes and just be like, all right, I'm going to chill out and play a video game. Thank you so much. Was only half listen at best. But that's okay. That's okay because this is the way I look at it is yes, there are going to be people that half listen. I half listen half the time. But sometimes what needs to be said reaches the right ears. And so I may be speaking or I may be, doing class, doing some education, whatever. And I may not know who I'm going to reach with what I'm going to say or my ideas or any of that. But I trust that whoever needs to hear the message will hear it. And if the message is right, then that will stand up, right? So even if I think people are only half listening, I'm hoping that what reaches their ears sparks understanding and action. And so I kind of go into everything not really having a I'm going to make people listen type mentality, but hopefully they hear something that will make sense and change things for the better and lead to that, promoting more action or empathy. I had $15 an hour as a computer teacher way back in 2010. I thought it was a good salary for me. I will be honest. I get paid well when I am paid. A lot of my work is volunteer, but I am paid well for what I do. But that's also because I'm an independent contractor and I kind of charge. So when I'm not doing all the volunteer work, I do charge a good rate. And so I'm able to be okay. But that's something as well as, I balance my time, and I would say a good half of my time is volunteer time that I spend on projects outside. So I would say like for pay, I work like part-time, and then for no pay, I work full-time. But I've got housing, so like that's like, let's get that out of the way. Like if that wasn't the case, it would be very different. If I was disabled, I was an EMT, CNA, telemetry. Most I made was 16. Oh my gosh. 2010. Yeah, that is crazy. That is crazy. And it shouldn't be that way. I really hate the sweep concept. I know you do too. Honestly, sweep dirt's not humans. Yes. Do Raja and Rowan get along? Yes and no. So Rowan has always liked cats, and I thought it would be great because, like, Mischief, the black and white one that's running around here. Mischief, come here. Come here. Come here, kitty. Come here. Come here. They want to see you. They want to see your pretty face. So they get along. She gets along with Mischief. I'm going to put Raj down and pick up Mischief. This is Mischief. And so she gets along with Mischief pretty well. And so I was like, it'll be great. She'll get along with Raja really well. Yeah, okay. Hi. Yes, I love you too. Oh, she loves me. So I thought she'd get along with her. But if Raja touches her, like even with her tail, if she touches her with her tail, her little paw, anything, Rowan goes, ugh, and gets up and moves. Like, it's so rude. Like, she's not mean to her. She just doesn't like her and is kind of rude about it. So I figure as they grow, it'll get better. But, like, Mischief can go up and lay on Rowan, like, lick her face, whatever. Raja comes near her and just, like, happens to brush her, and Rowan's, like, in full fit mode. Where can I find your Amazon wish list? Ooh, I usually have it in the descriptions. I don't think I have it in the description of this video that I am doing right now. But I will try to remember to get in there and get that on. But I know the Amazon wish list is in several videos. If you look in the descriptions, I put it in there. I know a guy from Israel said he learned a lot about Japan's geography by playing Pokemon. Oh, awesome. Unfortunately. Oh, Kitty's what? Isn't she cute? Hi, Shadow Baby. Go girl. Happy to hear you are doing well. I am doing good. I am. And I know that when I first came on here, I was, complaining and stuff. But I wanted to be honest that I was struggling and just kind of share with you guys to let you, just know where I'm at and that it's okay. And I'm still alive, right? Yay. Deserve girl. Thank you so much, Honey Badger. You guys, I appreciate you all. And it is now, what time is it? Like, I think it's like 1 in the morning. So I should probably get going because I do have to wake up with the babies. But I just want to tell you all, I appreciate you. And thank you. Thank you for, your comments. I have almost cried tonight. I have laughed. It's been great. So thank you very much. And as soon as I am feeling up to it again, I will be back on. Oh. So even if I'm not back on though, we're doing fireworks at the Seattle Center this year. I won't be there, like not in person, but I'm definitely going to video it. So I'm going to throw that up there so that everybody can see like the fireworks from the Seattle Center because it's really pretty and really beautiful. So be expecting that. It may be like filmed and then put up, may not be live, but it'll be cool. It was good seeing you. Thank you very much. All right, guys. Bye.